And there we are. That was a very abrupt to our music shutting off.
I wasn't going to let that whole song play.
It's only 2 minutes and something.
No, we're going to let it all play. What's going to happen?
All right. I should have started it earlier, technically, and I didn't. That's my bad.
Hey, Lolo. Welcome, welcome, welcome. My shirt is... I feel like my shirt is crooked.
My shirt is crooked.
Your shirt is always crooked.
My shirt is phenomenal.
Yeah, literally. It's
all
literally phenomenal. All right, you guys ready for episode 10 of CraZy Talk? That's what CraZy Talk.
Is it 10? I thought you said 11. It's 10?
No, it's 10.
Oh, 10. Okay.
It's episode 10.
I'm ready. Who else is ready?
I'm ready. Hey, is that why you got SpongeBob?
Oh, no, but that makes sense now.
I didn't even notice that. I'm ready.
Okay.
I'm ready. Isn't that what he says? I'm not. I could do a really good...
I don't know.
I won't do my SpongeBob impression. I'll save that for later.
Much later.
Like a different day.
Yes, a different day.
Episode 10, Stupid Shit We Say, which is a lighthearted exploration into idioms.
You said like everything I say is stupid most of the time.
A lighthearted exploration into idioms. Not idiots, idioms.
Idioms.
You ready to kick it off?
I am.
All right. Ready for some housekeeping?
Yeah, let me hide that. Okay.
Okay. All right. So thank you, guys. A couple of you reached out to us last week and told us that we were having an audio issue, which we did not know was going on until after the video was done. So for those of you who told us thank you, it's fixed, but we can't do anything.
Hopefully. Let us know if it's not.
Yeah, hopefully.
I did like 3 tests and everything seemed to be working, so...
But the video from last week, it's a little bit harsh.
Yeah.
It's hard to listen to. Okay? All right. So let's see. I wanted to talk about in housekeeping the audio issues, and then you told me that you wanted me to talk about for my PSA this week, which I had a different one that I worked into this into our show later in order to move it to talk about yours, which was to be nice to everyone. Everyone. So I found that. I liked that. Y'all means all.
Yeah.
So I know that you were having a bad week last week, and
I was having a bad week.
I'm not going to say anything about it because it has to do with your job, and I don't know if you
I'm
want
not going to get into details and about my job and stuff. And it's nothing against my job. My job actually did the right thing, and that's why I'm happy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I came across some hateful things that our company was unknowingly advertising, and I brought it to my boss's attention, and he immediately took care of it and got rid of it. And so I felt like I won. I did win. I stood up for something I believed in, and I won.
Another one for the good guys. So, friendly reminder, last week we talked about littering, and this week, don't be an ass. Just realize that everybody's equal. So that's what I wanted to talk about there. All right. So our standard housekeeping. Please follow us if you'd like to chat. We are on every Sunday at 6 p.m. with a new topic. And next week's topic, because C.K. Morgan starts a new job, and I didn't know if he would be ready to do his co-hosting next week because I couldn't talk to them because they were on vacation. So next week's topic will be bizarre foods. And we'll talk a little bit about that at the end of the show, like we always do. Kind of give you some examples of what we're planning on doing.
And then also, we mention this all the time, but, subscriptions are great. And not everyone wants to spend money, and we don't really want you to spend money. So that's fine. But if you link your Amazon account, your Amazon Prime account, to your Twitch account, you receive one free subscription every month that costs you $0. And then you can use that to subscribe to us. And it just helps us. It's a few cents that we get in our pocket, but it helps us. We keep spending the money on new equipment and trying to make things better. So.
Okay, you ready?
Yep.
All right, I'm having a little trouble with the iPad because I can't see it in screen mode and still share it. So you're going to see me go back to where I was, but just ignore it, okay? So I can't see the screen show and present at the same time. So in other words, I can't see what slides are coming next because I'm in present mode. So you're going to have, since I don't want to have 5 devices, I'm going to have to do a little bit of fumbling around for a minute.
All
Okay.
right.
So this week is about the stupid shit we say, which is mostly idioms. And for those of you who don't know, I'm sure you all know, but the definition for idioms was a group of words established by usage as having a meaning that's not deducible from the individual words themselves. So you'll recognize it once we move along. But almost all of these are idioms. I would say they all are. There were some really heated debates online about whether or not some of them were. I chose to just move on past that drama and say that these are all idioms. All right. So let's start with the first one. Man, it was raining cats and dogs last night. I loved that picture. I don't know why. Like literal cats and dogs last night. So
Cloudy with a chance of meatballs.
don't step in a poodle.
Okay.
Oh my god. So do you have any idea where that one comes from?
I wouldn't even know how to start guessing that. So no, I'm gonna say no.
So interestingly enough, I found a lot on this one. There were a few different ones. Supposedly the phrase originated in England around the 17th century. And the city streets would be filthy, and heavy rain would occasionally carry along dead animals. So that was one of the ones that I read. Another one that I read is that cats and dogs would like cuddle up on thatched roofs during storms, and if it rained too much, they'd get knocked off. And it would literally rain cats and dogs.
I thought cats were more graceful than that.
They have so many lives, they don't care.
Yeah.
So, and then the other one I found was in Norse mythology, Odin, the father god responsible for storms, was often depicted with dogs and wolves representing the winds. So, the more you know.
Yeah. There's going to be a lot of the more you know this show.
Really?
I would imagine.
Yeah.
That's my guess.
I always thought that was like the weirdest one. Like it's raining cats.
Yeah, so I didn't even think about that until you put it up on the screen. I was like, oh, you know what? I have no idea. People say it. I don't think I've ever said it, but I've heard it a million times.
Some of them, like you said, just are self-explanatory.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are self-explanatory, and others you're just like, what in the what? Where did that even come from? Right? So there's a lot of that. I probably could have done 10 episodes on these. They're so.
Especially your
many.
dumbass.
Hmm?
Especially like your dumbass.
Oh yeah, you're dumb.
There's probably a million. You're dumb as a lamppost. You're dumb as a box of rocks.
You're dumb as
yeah.
I thought you were saying ass.
Not ass. You're dumb as a box of chocolate. You can say anything because literally anything that doesn't have a brain is dumb.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Dumb as a rock.
Yeah.
Dumb as a book. Dumb as a baseball bat. Like you could say whatever you wanted, but.
So I'm gonna stick on the animal theme for a minute. Okay.
Okay.
So, don't let the cat out of the bag. Please don't let the cat out of the bag about the birthday party. The surprise party.
I'm going to guess this originated from people used to give gifts as cats.
What gives gifts as cats? What does that even mean?
That was a popular gift
Cats
for the
as
queen.
Gifts? Cats as gifts?
Okay, in ancient Egypt, because cats were a big part of ancient Egypt, you would present the queen with a gift in a bag. Mm-hmm. But it would be a cat because that was like a godly creature.
So you're making
and you didn't want to let the cat out
of the bag.
Yeah.
You're reminding
before
me
the cat saw it.
You're reminding me of the little nursery thing, like pussycat, what did you there? I frightened the mouse from under her chair. Do you remember that? Mm-hmm. I went to London to visit the Queen. What did you there? I frightened the mouse from under her chair. So you're thinking they were taking bags full of cats to the Queen?
No, of course not. I'm just trying to make some shit up.
It's way stupider than that.
Oh, is it really? At least mine made sense.
This one, I'll just tell you what it is, and then we can talk about it a little bit. So when someone would purchase a pig, the vendor would sneak a cat into the bag instead, cheating the buyer out of a high-priced pig. And when they got home, they noticed it was a cat when they opened the bag and let it out.
What? No, hold on. How the hell does a pig even fit in a bag?
And how would you not know it wasn't a pig?
That's what I'm saying. A pig weighs as much as like 70 cats.
Yeah, that's the first thing I thought. And it said...
and how do you carry a pig home in a bag?
Well, back then you had to... It was like a satchel, I'm sure. Right?
Like a big duffel bag?
I'm sure they throw it... You know, remember like when we play that one board game that we play where we have to lie and sneak...
Nottingham?
Sheriff of Nottingham.
Yeah, Sheriff of Nottingham.
Where we have to sneak in the goods. It's like you put a couple of cats... I don't get it.
Yeah, but still.
I don't get it.
That makes no sense.
I don't get it. I don't get it.
Oh, hey, thanks for the sub. Prime sub.
Woo! Oh, we're supposed to do that. We said we would.
Oh, yeah. No, we said if somebody played What is Love, then we would do the thing.
Thanks, Ramblin' John. Okay, so, yeah, I read that and I was like, and then they said they would come home and literally let the cat out of the bag and they'd realize they'd been scammed. Brother, I would notice I had been scammed the minute I tried to pick up the bag and it felt like a cat, unless you've got some really big cats.
Unless a cat is like a lion.
Yeah,
A cougar.
A mountain lion. I read that and I thought, holy hell, did you stop by on the way to market and have a few ales? Like, what were you doing on the way to market? And your wife would be so pissed if you showed up with a cat. And she's like,
It depends on what kind of cat.
How dumb are you?
Like I said, a lion's got a lot of meat on it.
Okay. So, when I look for my pictures, after reading this one, you can guess what I had to scroll through 900 pages worth. Anyway, bat out of hell. So, she's lucky she didn't get a ticket for driving like a bat out of hell last night. And I looked up Bat Out of Hell.
And you got Meatloaf.
Oh, I got 9 pages of Meatloaf.
Yeah.
The only thing I know about Meatloaf is that
he has an album called Bat Out of Hell.
Now I know that, and I also know that his daughter is married to Scott Ian, who is my crush.
Yeah.
I do know that. So, that I know. So what do you think? You have any ideas?
Well, no, because, I mean, like, you would think if a bat was trying to get out of hell, he'd be really fast. But then you would also think, like, bats probably kind of belong in hell. So, I don't know.
Yeah, and you guys feel free to guess in the chat if you have any guesses. And again, I should have mentioned this, I guess, at the beginning, so it's not again. I never mentioned it until now. There seem to be a lot of different ideas about where these sayings came from. And in most cases, no one agrees.
Oh yeah, I would imagine that.
Yeah. So if I'm saying something that you've heard otherwise, then share that with us. This is just either the one I found that made the most sense, or the one I thought was funniest, or the only thing I could find. But there were several that I found like conflicting.
So what'd you find out about the bat out of hell? Okay,
so the bat out of hell. The expression presumably, because no one really knows, alludes to the rapid darting movements of bats. And one gentleman theorized that the avoidance of light, which would be the fires in hell, they're bright, they're light, that the bat is avoiding the fires in hell.
So let me leave the darkness of hell.
No, it's bright.
Because of the bright fires and go out into the daylight of earth.
Well, they're trying to go find more dark.
I'm going to go find a cave.
They're in search of...
The Bat Cave.
The Bat Cave. I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to say with animals for a minute.
What was it? Inconceivable?
Inconceivable.
Or inconspicuous? I don't know.
No, it's inconceivable.
Inconceivable.
And he has a...
Inconceivable.
Yeah, I always thought that they got spit on when he would say that. Like, the way he says it has so much saliva going on in his mouth. Like, inconceivable. I'm not good at impressions, but in my head it sounds really good. All right. So I was going to put, it's about time you get your ducks in a row, son. But then I thought one of our children might, or 2 or 3 might be.
I've never heard it said that way. Like, hey, it's about time you get your ducks in a row. But I've heard like, well, no. I thought it was saying.
Let me get my ducks in a row.
Yeah, I've heard of people saying it about themselves.
Like, let me get my ducks in a row?
Okay, yeah, let me get all my ducks in a row and then I'll give you a call. Or whatever.
So what did you have any ideas on that?
Well, I know that ducks are always in a row because, no, seriously,
no, that is true.
Baby ducks anyways. Once they're adults, not so much. But
it doesn't seem hard.
But mama duck walks and baby ducks just follow in a single file line all the time. So I would think maybe if the ducks are not in a row, then it's chaos and they don't know what's going on. So they need to be in a row so that that's in a line and this is uniformed.
Okay.
Am I close?
I never saw anything like that. But now that you mention it, ducks are certainly like always like right behind
in a row.
Remember that time when we were at the fishing place, the hatchery, and there were ducks. I don't remember if you were there, if it was just me and the boys, but the mama duck like walked to the end of the pier and jumped off, and she was trying to get the baby ducks to jump off into the water with her, and they wouldn't. Like the first few were just like, dude, okay, whatever mom does, and they jumped off, and then there were 2 holdouts. Remember that? They were like on the pier, and the mom was like squawking her head off, like, get your ass in this water, and they were like,
get in the pool.
They would not get in that water for anything, and I was like, she can't do shit about it. They finally found a way to get around around Mama, because she's down there. They appear, and ain't nobody. By the time she gets around, she's not gonna be doing nothing about
chaos, because she did not have her ducks in a row.
That's probably it. So what I found was nothing similar to that at all. It says some sources, because there's a million different sources. So some sources suggest the phrase comes from the game of pool, when the number of balls are called ducks. The numbered balls are called ducks in pool.
I didn't know that.
And they line up neatly in the pockets so that and can be tapped in one right after the other. I forget, what's that game that you play where you go in order? I'm not a pool player, so I don't remember. But there's a game where you
8-ball. Oh no, 9-ball.
Where you go in order.
That's 9-ball.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where you have to put in the 1, then the 2, then the 3, then the 4,
Yeah.
all the way to the 9.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
9-ball.
Yeah.
That's the one that they actually play in like professional pool tournaments and stuff. Yeah.
Okay, so that's where that one. That's.
I guess I don't know that much about pool.
I like yours
think
better.
So.
But yeah, when I started thinking about that, I started thinking about those little ducks. That was hilarious. They were not, and they would like get to the edge and try to go, and they get too scared and they wouldn't go.
It was funny.
This one is so weird. Okay, someone's told you you're the bee's knees.
Nope. I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna cut you off right quick. Okay. I know this is a saying.
You've never heard it?
I've heard it a lot of times.
Okay.
From you.
From only me?
Yeah, I've never heard anyone say it till I heard you say it for the first time.
And were you like, what is going on with that?
And I didn't. I thought it was some shit you made up.
I didn't make that up.
No, because I know that because now I've seen like other people have said it. But I thought it was some shit you made up for a while.
Nope, it's not.
So you're the bee's knees.
So what's interesting is I couldn't find out shit about that.
So does it... Oh, never mind. If you didn't find out shit, then never mind.
I found out...
I was going to say, is it mean you're the bees as in a bumblebee? Or does it mean the bees as in the letter B?
No, it's the bumblebee. Oh, okay. It's a bee, an actual bee.
Or a honeybee or whatever.
But what's interesting is the actually calling someone the bee's knees, I didn't find out anything about that, even though there's indisputably that is said. And it's used as a phrase. What I did find out in researching that was so crazy. It says the phrase bee's knees, and not referring to someone as being the bee's knees, but just the phrase bee's knees. Mm-hmm. Okay, was originally an 18th century fanciful phrase which referred to something that didn't exist. It was used as a kind of spoof item. Apprentices would be sent to stores to fetch. So like the blinker fluid, or in the military they have a bunch of those. Like a tartan paint or a left-handed hammer. So it was like the fake thing that you could be like, go get me some blinker fluid. Go the bee's knees. That's what they would say. They would get people to go get the bee's knees. I
wonder how that became meaning you're great. Because I think that what it means, like, oh, you're awesome, you're great.
Yeah. You. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's pretty interesting.
But you could find nothing on that, so we are still clueless.
No, I mean, I could find that it was the saying, but all in all, nobody could really say why. Mm-hmm. I'll tell you about that later. We would have gone down a rabbit hole. There's some phonetic things that you can do, like rhyming sayings that you break apart, and it would be way too hard to convey. It just didn't make sense. There wasn't a straightforward answer for the bee's knees. So... and while we're there, I'm going to do what my PSA would have been if you hadn't told me that we should love all people. You
didn't have to make it that. I was just very angry about something that had happened to me personally.
No, I'm fine with it. Whatever. I'm totally fine with it. I'm really glad that we brought it up, and that's important to us, so it's good. But while we have the chance, save the bees, please.
So you're sticking in a second PSA?
Yeah, save the bees, please.
You could have just saved this one for next week.
No, I'll say it again next week. Save them. They need to be saved. Metal was told to kill... Man, I'm going to get your company in all kind of trouble.
Yeah.
Metal's company told him to take down all the bees' nests, and he refused.
I did refuse.
He stood his ground and refused to remove all the bees, mm-hmm. because he knew that if I found out, I would kill him, and also he likes bees too.
Well, and also, if we got rid of all the bees, then we wouldn't have no knees for bees.
No honey, which I can't stand honey, but I love me some bees.
Yeah. I like honey and mead. And you need honey to make mead.
How's your mead coming along? I haven't seen you bottle any of it in a long time.
That's because of aging right now.
How long does mead usually age?
However long you want it to.
In this case, how long is the mead aging?
Well, this batch I started in July.
Whoa. That's a long time.
Yeah.
Did you get the what do you buy? You buy pollen, or what do you do you get the local honey? Well,
I buy local honey.
Well, you buy it from wherever local to...
Well, I don't buy local to me.
Yeah.
It just depends on the profile I'm looking for, because I might buy a local a homegrown, organic, natural honey from a farm in California, if that's what I'm looking for. Because every region has different kind of flowers that the bees pollinate from, so it slightly changes the profile.
The flavor profile.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought that was really interesting when you first started. You got some from Arizona because you can look at, like, they have daffodils.
Well, there was those desert wildflowers.
The desert wildflowers.
The desert sunflowers specifically was the region it came from. But yeah.
So it changes the flavor.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So that's for the birds.
That's for the birds.
For the birds.
So when you say that's for the birds,
it's trivial, useless.
That means, this is something that nobody cares about.
Yeah.
Basically. Nobody cares. That's for the birds. So maybe, and I'm just guessing, again, as always, maybe that comes from the birds being like vultures or scavengers. Like maybe like, if it's useless, it's just left on the side of the road or whatever, roadkill, whatever. That's just for the birds. And then the scavenger birds come and eat it.
Speaking of birds, remember that one video that went around for a while of that bird of prey just like swooping down and taking a child?
No.
Yeah, remember?
But have you seen those eagles that pick up the goats and throw them off the mountains?
They throw them onto the mountain. Like, they pick them up and carry them down the mountain. It's weird.
No, they're mountain goats, so they're on the mountains, and they swoop down and they grab them, and they take them off the mountain and drop them so that they fall to their death, and then they go eat them.
Is that how you end up with all the goats on the power lines and all that weird
I don't know anything about that.
You've never seen those? The goats on the power line?
No, I didn't know anything about that.
Oh, yeah, you could look that up. What about those goats that go in the trees?
No, that's great. Yeah, but that happens all the time. They sell calendar. I saw a calendar that was like goats and trees, and every month was just a new tree with goats. It's like an apple tree, but where there would be apples, there's goats. And they're just literally littering the tree. They look awesome, but yeah.
So they look hilarious. I lived on a goat farm when I was a kid. I've told you that, right?
You did.
Yeah.
And your sisters didn't even believe you or something.
Yeah, they don't believe me, but I mean, we lived there. There's no secret about it. And they used to have us. We slaughtered the goats and ate them. It wasn't. I mean, it was a farm. Like, they weren't just there to hang out with, but. Yeah, and the vultures made me think of. Remember that time we were at the park, and I swear to you, a vulture was circling our dog. It wanted our dog. It really.
I thought it was a vulture.
Looked like one.
Well, I'm only saying a vulture is not going to circle a live animal.
It might have been a hawk. Those are two starkly different birds. All right, so that's your guess.
Yeah. So go ahead and tell me the truth now.
Okay, so the phrase was coined in the U.S. military during World War II. The original phrase included a swear word, talking about birds pecking at horse manure to get the seeds out. They would say, "That shit's for the birds," and it hit its peak in the 1960s.
That shit is for the birds.
Because the birds would go to the horse manure and pick out all the seeds.
Like the non-digested seeds that come out of the horse shit.
Yeah. And so they would say, that shit's for the birds.
That's also, I still hear it that way. When I do hear it, which I don't hear it often, it's generally from an old man, but it'd be like, that shit's for the birds.
I heard stories that during the Depression and stuff, people, and I've read in books as well, but they were fiction, that people were eating undigested food out of animal excrement, during times where they couldn't find food.
Ew.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. All right, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right. I just need a ballpark number. I'm gonna ballpark it.
Oh, just ballpark it for me.
Just ballpark it. I don't need anything exact. Just need a ballpark number. So we'll do a few about sports.
Okay, because now, I've heard this a million times. Generally, the word number is not associated.
Yeah, well, and since I'm
but they're just
in
like...
business,
then just ballpark it for me.
Just ballpark it for me.
Like, I don't generally hear, like, just ballpark the number for me, like, specifically.
Oh,
so
I'll tell my guys...
Yeah, just ballpark it for me.
Yeah, I'll tell my team. I'll say, hey, how much would it cost to do X, Y, Z? I don't need anything exact, just ballpark it.
Yeah, or it'll be like, well, I need a new this and that. And they'll be like, well, let me do just ballpark. Just tell me real quick.
How much do you think it would be?
They'll be like, okay, fine, $6,000 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason I'm having a hard time with this is because I can't think of anything in baseball or anything in a ballpark that it's just an estimate, because everything is a very precise number in sports.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, even like batting averages down to the 100th of a percent.
Mm-hmm.
So that's making it where I've heard it and I've never put any thought into, like, where'd that come from? But now that you mention it, where did that come from?
So which ballpark is that? I was wondering if you would know. Because because you're a ballpark fanatic. We've got our...
Blow it up big and let me take a good look at it.
Well, it says National, so...
That's Washington Nationals.
Yeah.
I don't know the name of the park, though.
Because you can see the W there on the home plate.
I don't know the name of the park, though.
We've not been there.
Oh. Yeah, I don't know the name of the park. If anybody listening knows the name of the park where the home games are played for the Washington Nationals.
It's not even on our list. Like, we have
I forget that Washington has another baseball team because I always just think of the Mariners.
Mm-hmm.
I forget that the Nationals are there.
Is Washington State? Or is it...
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's Washington State.
I'm not familiar with them, but you have the passport of all of the
Now,
ballparks.
we've been to the Mariners ballpark, which was Safeco Field, but didn't they change the name of it?
Well, when I was growing up, it wasn't called the Safeco Field. It was called...
No, it was Safeco forever, right?
The Thunderdome, wasn't it?
Look through my signs.
I don't know. It's there somewhere.
Yeah, because we went there.
We'll find it in a minute. Oh, I see the... So you can tell everybody that's Fenway. That's Wrigley.
That's Fenway. Every time I go to a ballpark, I get a sign to hang on the wall.
This is San Diego.
And years later, I still have not hung these on the wall.
Oh, here we go.
So,
it is Seattle Mariners. It doesn't say the name of the park.
I just bought one that said the Mariners.
Yeah. Anyway.
Oh, well, anyways, that came from the Seattle ballpark, but I thought it had the name of the field, and it does not.
No, and I don't remember. I swear to you, when I was growing up, it was the Thunderdome, but...
Okay, here you go.
And then, so I put a picture of our new one, because I wanted to brag. Because everybody paid all those taxes. So, there's our ballpark.
There's all ballpark.
There's
in
our
Arlington,
Globe
Texas.
Life Park, which one of our children graduated at this year, and another one will graduate at... Or last year, and another one will graduate this year.
Yep, it's right next to where the Cowboys play. Yep. So.
All right, so back to the ballpark figure.
Okay, yeah, let me know. But, I mean, I don't need a good explanation, just ballpark the explanation to me. Just tell me a ballpark answer to what the explanation is.
I wish it was so much more interesting than what it really is now, because we've talked it up a bit.
Oh.
Because baseball. Commentators would just look around and give an estimate of attendance in the audience. They'd say, yeah, we got like 800 people here.
Because they didn't have computers that would tell them the actual
They'd
numbers.
Say, got about 883 people here today in attendance. That's where it came from.
Hey, somebody told me I did a good one.
Okay. All right.
I need that more often because she gives me credit for nothing.
That's so not true.
Nothing clever.
So not true.
I say a lot of clever things, and she just like shakes her head and is like, whatever.
Y'all gonna make me drink my wine.
Up in here?
In here. Which I'm not supposed to be, but so I'll take it easy.
So ballpark it means it came from the fact that they would estimate the attendance.
Yeah.
By just visual.
Looking around.
Like they know that there's 200 seats over here and 500 seats over here and 500 seats. And they'd be like, those look about a quarter full and whatever. They would just put the number together. Mm-hmm. Gotcha. All right.
So this one, the whole 9 yards. The whole 9 yards. So that means just...
Bruce Willis movie.
Yeah, and the whole 10 yards. Or 9, yeah. So I had this in with sports because I originally thought that the meaning was from was sports related. But it's not. Not the one I found.
Well, yeah, because what's 9 yards do you in sports?
Ramblin' John's right. No, because there was an explanation for sports. I forget what it said. Something about the...
Because if you go the whole 9 yards, you're still a yard short.
Yeah.
Having to do with chain-fed machine guns.
Yeah, John's right. So the bullets for the machine guns used in the American combat planes in WW2 and since were in chains of 27 feet in length. Thus, a pilot was able to fire all of his bullets off at one target. Oh, if a pilot was able to fire all of his bullets off at one target, he was said to have given the adversary the full 9 yards. Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good, John.
But I threw it in with I've got one more for sports. I threw it in with the sports somehow. Because one of the explanations I saw had something to do with football. And yeah, I don't know a lot about football. And I started reading it. And my head started, whatever. So I went with this one.
That one sounds right to me.
Yeah. Yeah. And obviously, since Ramblin' John said the same thing.
Yeah, and he said the same thing. So, cheers.
Salud.
Cheers. Skull.
Salud.
Any way you want to say it. Like I said, we love everyone. So we love every way of saying drink a beer.
This is one of those ones that just makes sense. Just makes sense. So
we're up there in the nosebleed seat. Oh yeah, because
aren't
altitude.
Aren't you guys at the game? Yeah, we're up here in the nosebleeds.
Because altitude, your nosebleeds at high altitudes.
So what is chin chin? Is that like an Australian way to salute? I have to ask Ramblin' John about that. Yeah, it's to do with altitude. Although I get severe altitude sickness when I'm going anywhere. When I go to Denver, I have to drink like buttloads of water before I go. That helps a lot. I went to Vail last year, and I've never been that sick. Like, I was honestly almost had to go to the hospital to get oxygen. I was vomiting. I have not been that sick. Ever. I've never had a nosebleed. It feels like my head...
Did your nose start bleeding?
No.
Oh,
no.
See, I was going to say, I don't know why I'm going to guess, because I don't think I've been in just high altitudes, or if I have...
We've been to Denver together.
Well, I know, but it never bothered me.
Then you don't... Then it
so I guess it just doesn't bother you. But I'm thinking, like, higher altitudes, maybe it dries out your sinuses, and that's what causes the nosebleed?
I'm not... That sounds very plausible, but when we...
I doubt you just get to a certain altitude and your nose just starts bleeding. There's something that causes it. Maybe it's that everything dries out because the humidity is different way up here. The air quality is different. Like,
you'd think I would have looked that up since it's part of the answer, but no. And when I go to Denver, it's just a massive headache, which I can forego if I drink a lot of water before I go. However, in Vail, nothing was going to help that. It was just, I was so sick. I've never been so sick in my life. I can't remember the last time I was sick.
To me, there was no difference in being in Denver and being in San Antonio as far as how I felt altitude-wise. Yeah. I never felt the altitude. So
I even got a fever. I got that bad, and I started looking up the symptoms because I had forgotten. I didn't even think about Vail, the altitude of me going there. I didn't even think about it at all. I know when we go to Denver to drink water. I've learned that. The first time I went, I was on business and I felt really sick. I started describing the symptoms to someone and they said, I think it's altitude. And I said, what does that mean? Like I had never experienced that before. And they said, drink a bunch of water, see if it helps. And it did. So I always pound the water before I go. And also in Vail, not drinking alcohol is big. So while I was there on a work retreat for 4 days, I couldn't drink anything. Everybody was drinking and all kinds of things, and I couldn't have anything to drink because I made the mistake of drinking one gin and tonic, and I couldn't. I just started getting so sick, started throwing up. So anyway, and I think it depends on the person. Like, it's not everybody that gets altitude sickness. Even though you're from Texas, you might consider, I don't really go to high altitude, I'm going to get sick. It just doesn't happen. It's just one person to the next. So, all right. And another sports. One more sports. Different
Billiards.
Billiards. Do you say billiards or billiards or?
I think it's billiards.
It was billiards.
It might be billiards, but
billiards.
Isn't it spelled like Billiards or something?
Well,
like that?
it's there's no Y, but it's still billiards.
So I guess I guess technically it's billiards. Billiards, if you were to actually pronounce it out. Maybe, I don't know.
I think I just say billiards.
Billiards.
So we're behind the 8 ball, like unrecoverably so, right? Behind the 8 ball means placed in a difficult situation from which one is unlikely to escape.
And I guess that means because, like, if your ball that you need to shoot into the pocket is behind the 8 ball, then technically it would be hard to get around the 8 ball, because if you pocket the 8 ball, then you lose the game. Is that pretty close?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I need my bell. I need to bring my bell up here. Ding, 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 ding. It says first printed in American newspaper stories in the 1920s. And was derived from the game of pool, not billiards.
Billiards.
If the cue ball accidentally hits the 8 ball, then it is forfeited. So, right. Yeah. Billiards. You're doing good.
That was the first one I actually got.
Well,
and it was an easy one that was self-explanatory.
1 point.
Unlike John's.
1 point.
John got a hard one, though.
Yeah, but he's military.
Yeah.
So, or ex-military, so he got a heads up. This is what I wish I was. So, I'm so jealous she has a green thumb. I want to have a green thumb. I do, but I kill everything, so...
Well, green thumb just means plants are green, for the most part, And that just means you're good at taking care of plants.
So everybody, like, my dad had a green thumb. Like, our whole house was full of so many plants. My parents smoked, and it didn't even really smell like smoke. And my dad, like, put Christmas lights on the plants because why not? We just had so many plants. Who needs a tree? And I told this story when I was in business school. Remember I told the story my dad would make me take it would be someone's birthday, and then I would tell my dad that I needed a present.
Or he would, like, break a piece of
He would,
the
like,
succulent
break a
off.
piece off of a plant and root it, and then he'd put it in, like, a little terracotta pot and get a Christmas bow that you reuse every single year that doesn't even stick anymore, and stick it on the pot and say this to take that as the gift because, you know, like, that's the best gift you can give anyone. And it's not, by the way, Cabbage Patch dolls are the best gift you can give anyone when you're like 10. Not a piece of a plant in a broken terracotta pot with an old Christmas bow that won't even stick. If you want to make friends, probably don't want to do Vambo's way because nobody was begging to invite me to their birthday parties. You usually invite people to your birthday parties because you know they give good gifts. I was whatever the opposite of that was. Like, don't invite her. She's going to give you a succulent.
In a terracotta pot.
In a broken terracotta pot with a bow that don't even stick, and it's got 9 years worth of previous wrapping paper still stuck to the back of it. Oh my gosh. Okay, so that's your guess?
Well, yeah, I mean, it just seems
Plants
like...
are green, so your thumb would be green?
Yeah, I mean, well, of course your thumb wouldn't be green, but that would just be the saying. Like, let's say I was good at murdering people. Maybe I'd have a red thumb because that's the color of blood.
So John's saying chlorophyll stained fingers and thumbs. So he's close. You're close. It's more literal.
I was thinking maybe like what's the doctor that gives the prostate exams?
It's just I don't know, a proctologist.
Okay, so if you're a proctologist, you'd have a brown thumb. That means you're good at your job.
Mercy.
Okay.
They don't use their thumb. I think they use this finger. Anyway.
You use your thumb for everything.
Okay.
That's why things without opposable thumbs have a disadvantage over things with opposable thumbs.
So that's why the raccoons can get into all kinds of
That's
shit.
why they can fuck shit up, because they got opposable thumbs.
So the answer is more literal than what you came up with and closer to... Tim's doctor doesn't wear gloves, apparently, John. He just goes straight in raw. Gross. Okay, so it's more literal than what you thought, but it's very close to what John said. It comes from the fact that algae growing on the outside of the earthenware pots will stain a person's thumb and fingers if they handle enough pots without gloves. Without gloves.
So you literally will get a green thumb?
Yeah, and fingers.
Well, if you don't wear gloves, as John said, you will also literally get a brown thumb.
No, we wouldn't get a brown thumb.
We wouldn't, but the proctologist would.
Oh, well. If your doctor doesn't have on gloves, you probably should stop that exam before you take your pants down.
He's old school, bitch.
Hope he's not that old school. Oh, so this is like, there's always the ones that you just don't want to hear, and somebody's like, well, that's just the way the cookie crumbles, and you're like, shut up, man. My life is already going south, and then here you come with, don't cry over spilled milk. That's the way the cookies crumble. I don't want to hear that shit.
Don't cry over spilled milk on this list?
No.
Oh, because it's not. You just ruined it, and now I'm going to be thinking of... As a matter of fact, I'm going to be thinking of that one now anyways.
There's so many.
Don't cry over spilled milk. I'm going to be thinking of that
There's so many. I couldn't put them all. We can do a part 2. There's a lot of part 2s coming up.
All right. That's just how the cookie crumbles. Maybe it has to do with if you're going to share a cookie and you break it in half, somebody's going to get a little bit more cookie than the other person.
Well, if you got
that's how the cookie crumbles. You got a bigger piece than me. Well, that's how the cookie crumbles.
So that reminds me of your boys. Our boys, but your biological too. When I say your boys, you know which ones I mean.
Mm-hmm.
So out of the 3 that are still at home, when I say your boys, that tells you which 2 I mean. I told you. I don't know if I told you this the other day, but there was like one pie, like this.
Like
fried,
a piece of
fried pie. You had bought me a fried pie from the places that place in
Glen Rose.
Glen Rose that I love, that gas station.
There's a gas station that fries their own pies there, and the pies are this big.
And they take Mindy
and they
Lou.
are fucking delicious. They are so good. They do a great job. If you're ever in Glen Rose, stop
by
at
there.
It's an Exxon gas station right before you get to Dinosaur Valley State Park, and it's got a big sign on the side that says fried pies. Just stop right there. It's by the Hilton.
Yeah, because no, it's not a Hilton. It's a La Quinta.
Oh, it's a La Quinta Inn. That's right.
Back then, I
La
used
Quinta
to use we would stay at that La Quinta because they let us have our dog. So that's why we would stay at that La Quinta when we were going to Dinosaur before we got our camper. But there, if you're local, Mindy Lou, this is like bigger and better than Mindy Lou. I'll still eat a Mindy Lou pie any day, but
Mindy Lou's is still a good, decent pie, but it's a mass-produced commercial pie. These are
literally not so much as like some of the other ones you can get.
No, but these pies that I buy there are literally handmade. Each individual one is made one at a time by hand. Like they're fucking great.
So I kind of got off the subject there. But
yeah, okay, we're talking about
sorry.
Pies.
So your boys were downstairs. And there was one left, and they asked me if they could have it. And I said, there's only one. You guys have to split it. And they looked at each other, and I can't remember which one it was, but one said, I'll cut, you pick. And I was like, yes.
Well, I taught them that a long time ago. Yeah. That's how I did. Like, if there's a piece of cake, a piece of pie, whatever, a cookie, it doesn't matter. The way so that there's never an argument ever is one person gets to cut and the other person gets to choose. Therefore, the person that cuts will always cut it as fucking equal as possible because he doesn't want the small piece.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't get to pick first. So one person cuts it and the other person takes the first pick, and that eliminates all fights.
I was so proud of them.
Yeah.
It was like a proud mom moment.
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
I taught them that a long time. I don't even remember. I learned that from somewhere, but I don't remember where. I picked it up
works.
from somewhere.
They don't fight.
And I started doing that 12 years ago.
How are you going to argue over what you picked?
Yeah, it's like, hey, can we have this piece of cake? Yeah, y'all got to share it, though. Ash cut, Xander, you can pick the first piece.
I think that's how my mom got me to eat vegetables. She would make me pick the vegetable, and then I couldn't complain.
That is a trick that you can do. Yeah.
All right, so this one didn't make as much sense to me as I thought it would. But okay, it says that's the way the cookie crumble. A phrase originated in French languages. So if you've ever heard anyone say "c'est la vie," this such as life, cookie was introduced into that phrase from the popular snack crumbling if it's not consumed in time, which somehow, and no one knows why, connects to life being able to accept a bad end of something good. So, c'est la vie, such as life. And then it went into, like, that's the way the cookie crumbles, because it's something really good, and it crumbles if you don't, and then that's bad. So it's something...
I've never had a cookie that expired and just crumbled on the counter. I've never had that happen before.
Ramblin' John, you probably don't have that problem because you and Kaz have one son, so you don't.
He just gets the whole pie.
He gets the whole pie. It's when you get into the multiple children that becomes necessary, or children that becomes necessary. So yeah, it's like something good that turns bad because you don't want your cookie to crumble. You want to eat it. You'll just lick it off the floor.
I don't lick things off the floor. What? You think so low of me sometimes?
No, I didn't mean. I meant like, I don't know a nice way to say it. Like, you're not...
So let's just don't. And say we did.
Oh, you're channeling your inner dad. Let's just don't and say we did. I didn't spill the milk, but I did spill the beans.
Okay, so the spill the milk is like, don't cry over spilled milk.
Yeah.
But spilling the beans...
Don't spill the beans.
Spill the beans has two different meanings, I think.
No, it's telling a secret. Spill the beans.
Well, if you're telling somebody, don't spill the beans.
Like, don't tell.
Yeah, you're telling don't tell.
Sorry.
Oh, you know what? I think I know this one.
I know you do.
Do I?
Yeah, but I don't know if you'll remember.
How do I know it?
Because it's just something that we know. We've seen it in just in the lore of things that we've watched.
Yeah, it was like in a movie or something. Yeah. I'm trying to remember.
It might have been in Drunk History or something.
Maybe. Something. I don't remember what it was now. But something was put, like maybe a key to something. Or something was put in the beans at the bottom.
In the can of beans?
It was a secret.
No.
No, there was like a pot of beans. Like somebody, like in the medieval days, you'd have a big serving thing of beans. And somebody would put something... Literally, the hidden thing would be in the beans. But if you spilt the beans, the secret would be revealed.
Why would you do that?
I don't know.
I don't think this makes sense.
No, I know that. I remember this one.
I never heard that in my life.
Yeah, it was like if you accidentally spilled the beans, then whatever secret, I can't remember the secret, but the secret, whatever... would spill out with the beans, and then
what
you would
secret could you put in a pot full of beans?
Man, I don't know, but I know this. Go ahead and tell me, though.
Are you sure?
Yeah, because maybe I know a different origin story of it.
you just made that shit up.
I didn't make it up. I heard this before.
Okay, so it's believed that this phrase originated in Greece, where people cast secret votes by putting a white or a black bean in a jar. A white indicated a positive vote, whereas a black bean was negative. And they didn't want the beans to get spilled. You see the votes. You don't want to see what people were voting.
See, that's not what I heard. I heard something completely different.
Nobody was putting anything in anybody's beans.
Yeah, like say, I'm going to make this up. So this is not the right thing, but let's just say I wanted to assassinate the king. And I would put the dagger in the beans.
Why would you do that?
Because that way the beans would get into the main cabin, right? But if somebody spilled the beans...
now I see where you're going with
this. If somebody spilled the beans, the dagger would come out, and then it would be revealed that, oh, there's a dagger in here. Now, that's not the case. I don't remember what the secret was.
Okay, so now at least I understand where you're going with it. Because before I was like, what are they putting in the beans that no one's allowed to know about? Like, what? Like, that didn't even... Okay, that makes sense. Like a file. Here's a pot of beans, person in jail, with a file in it.
Yeah.
Hope the guard doesn't spill the beans and find out that there's a file in it. If you spilled the beans,
you would find the secret. Which, to me, still makes more sense than what you said for the description.
No.
Because that's not spoiling the secret. That's just like, oh, the beans are everywhere. Now we got to pick them all up and recount them.
No, because you can see the votes. You could see what someone was voting when you spilled the beans.
All right.
Don't spill the beans when you're casting your vote.
Gotcha.
Yours is cray. All right.
I know I heard that somewhere before.
I'm gonna stick with food.
Deal with it.
We're in a bit of a pickle here.
Oh, I was reading the wrong thing. I'm like,
I want to throw.
I think it's DEAL, like deal with it. But,
yeah, of course.
But I didn't even notice.
I'm making a pun.
I got that now. Yes. It just took a minute.
Yeah. So.
We're in a bit of a pickle here.
We're in a bit of a pickle here, Metal. Sounds like something from a cartoon.
Well, okay. This is, again, just a guess. Like everything I'm doing. I'm going to guess it comes from actually pickling the cucumbers. And because, like, pickling means you're like, if you're in a pickle, that means you're like in a jam. You're in a tough spot. Like something you can't work your way out of or get out of. And so, like, if you're a cucumber that's in a jar that's being pickled, then it has no place to go. It has to stay in there.
I couldn't find a real solid answer. I could only find the origin.
Okay.
I couldn't find a why, just where it started to be used. But I wanted to leave it in for a very important reason. Even though it was last minute, I added this at the very last minute, and I spend a lot of time and effort getting ready for the podcast each week. I start Monday to do the next week. And this one I put in this afternoon. I was not able to find out why. I was able to find out the origin of when it was first came up, but not why. But I kept it in for a very, very good reason. I wanted to talk about Mansfield, Texas, being the pickle capital of the world, and our annual St. Patrick's Day parade.
Pickle capital of Texas.
The pickle capital of Texas. And our annual St. Patrick's Day parade, which is really our pickle parade instead, hosted by our beautiful pickle queens. And they are protected by our pickle protectors, which are their significant others and spouses. This year it is supposed to be on March 20th. If it does not get canceled, it probably will. I'm hoping that if it's safe, they have it. They did cancel last year. We've been involved in the parade every year that it's since inception. We did not participate last year. It was canceled. And I'm not sure that we're going to be able to continue to volunteer, but...
it would be nice for it to happen again, but of course I only want it to happen again if it's safe for it to happen again.
They've already canceled some of the bigger city St. Patrick's Day parades. So I don't want to speak for them. Never would I do that. I don't have any secret inside knowledge. I just know that it's supposed to be on March the 20th, and if and when it starts happening again, you should, if you're anywhere near local, it's a lot of fun. And it brings a lot of money to our small downtown area that they've been working to revitalize for a really long time. So I just wanted to leave it in there.
So if any of you viewers are from the DFW area in Texas, stop on by.
Or, I mean, there are people that travel from...
No, that is true. The Pickle Parade is a really big deal. It started out small, but it grew really big. And I'm hoping the pandemic doesn't kill that vibe that it had for a while. Yeah. Because people were driving from San Antonio, Austin, El Paso, Oklahoma.
It was originally...
Like, people weren't driving from California to come to the course, but, like, semi-local, like, within a few hour drive, people were driving to it, and it became a really big deal.
Yeah, it was
a really big deal.
Dill.
Yes.
It was originally sponsored by Best Made, and then they...
Best Made Pickles,
Yeah,
but
Best
now
Made
they want to be known as Fort Worth, so whatever.
So
their factory's here in Mansfield, but they claim Fort Worth, but whatever.
And they've got a new... If you go to Fort Worth, they've got a new store. You can do pickle apparel. Man, that's hard to say. Get your pickle apparel on in the new Best Made store in Fort Worth. Okay, so I apologize for not knowing where it came from exactly, but I wanted to leave it in nonetheless because I thought it was important to talk about it. But the origin of the phrase "in a pickle" goes back to at least the 17th century. It was utilized in The Tempest by William Shakespeare in 1611, where two of the characters in the play, Alfonso and Triniculo, who use the expression while they're speaking to each other. But again, I was not able to track that any further, unfortunately. So, sorry for the half-ass answer.
Oh, well. You know what, though, this makes me think of? There's times, because of this pandemic and all the crazy thing that's been going on in the world for, 10 months now?
I've been home for a full year now.
Yeah.
When we came back from our cruise at my birthday in January, I was scheduled to go on 2 more trips. One of which was immediately canceled, and the other one, I think it was in Mexico, and we decided that maybe it wasn't a good idea for me to just travel just to see what was going to happen, and I canceled that one. So from traveling 3 to 4 days a week, I have not traveled anywhere in a year.
Well,
it's been weird. Well, I've driven. I'm sorry.
What this made me think of, though, is the fact that we've gone every single year. No, we didn't just gone every year. We've literally volunteered every single year.
Because that's what good stewards of their community do.
Yes. But what that makes me think of is during this pandemic, I always think like we're not missing out on much because we're such homebodies. You know what I mean? But I don't realize the things that we do that we enjoy doing, that we do kind of frequently, and we just kind of take advantage of it, I guess.
Or take it for granted.
Yeah. And that's like, this reminds me, doing this every year reminds me of how many different charity crawls we would do. Mm-hmm. And we haven't done that in so long, and that was like a big hobby for us for a while.
There's nothing like supporting your cause by drinking a beer.
Right, exactly. I like beer.
Dressing up and drinking a beer. Oh, you have your good stein.
And I do have one of my good steins. Yeah, my fatty.
One, short fat one.
But
that's your coffee stein.
I love beer, and I love supporting a charity, especially a local charity. And like the beer crawls were great. All the pub crawls, mm-hmm. Every one of them supported something that was a good cause. And we had fun because 90+% of the time, they're themed and you can dress in costume for the theme, and I love doing that.
I think the last one we did was the Harry Potter crawl, which was kind of wah-wah.
Yeah, that one was wah-wah. But the reason that one, well, for me anyways,
it was the sponsor.
I also haven't read any Harry Potter books, and I haven't watched any Harry Potter movies. I've never seen any of them.
It's a damn shame.
So they bought me a shirt that said Muggle. I didn't even know what that meant.
And then we laughed
They also had to explain to me why my shirt said Muggle, because that's a Harry Potter reference. And I had to walk around with all these Harry Potter cosplayers with a t-shirt on that said Muggle. So
it was fun.
There's that. But
the one that
we have a lot of fun doing pub crawls, and I do miss that.
I like the Santa one. I like the
Santa crawls are always fun because there's 7 billion different kinds of Santas. Mm-hmm. The Krampus one was fun too. Yeah. We did a Krampus one once, but yeah. Okay. Anyway, I just wanted to say that.
Okay. So there you go. If you're ever near Mansfield, Texas, around March, St. Patty's Day time, stop by. Wear green so you don't get pinched.
And we'll probably be there, so.
we live like 5 minutes from where it's at, so yeah. All right, so cut the mustard. That's such a weird phrase.
It is not. Well, all these are normal phrases until now that I'm trying to dissect them, I realize they're weird.
Mm-hmm. So people that aren't from here have a really hard time with our idioms because they just are whack. They're crazy. They make no sense. Imagine not being from here and literally, because you're a literal guy. So you're like, cut the mustard. What, So, what do you got?
I don't. Because, like, in my brain, I'm automatically thinking, well, if you didn't cut the mustard, that means you weren't up to par. Yeah, which is another idiom in itself.
Do you know it's over 130 years old?
No, but did you realize that was another idiom in itself that I just used to describe that? It's like it was not up to par. But anyways, that just means you weren't quite up to par. You did not meet expectations or what was.
I'm not sure if that's an idiom or not. It could be, but anyway, okay.
But you did not meet expectations. That you did not meet what was expected of you.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes me start thinking, well, mustard, technically, if I poured mustard on a plate and I cut it, it would just go back together.
No, it's liquid.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying. It wouldn't cut.
Oh, okay, gotcha. You can't.
So now I'm trying to
it.
be more literal. I'm thinking about mustard seeds.
Okay.
And I'm like, well, maybe you had to cut the mustard seeds to make mustard. But now I'm just going way far off in left field. Another idiom. So I just want you to go ahead and just tell me instead.
So Ramblin' John, I did find, and I don't know if you were on earlier when I said that in some cases I found multiple. So when I did, I would choose the one I liked the best, or I thought made most sense, or was comedic, or
I didn't think it may have came from the word muster originally.
So I did see that, but I went a different route with a different explanation that I found. So I did see, for those of you who can't see chat, everyone can see chat, can't they?
I believe so.
Okay, so John's saying a military idiom didn't pass muster. Yeah, and then it transformed over time. So the one that I found that I chose to go with was, I said it's over 130 years old, so they got to think back. It's been a while.
But mustard has been used for a long ass time.
Yeah, so
it's like one of the oldest condiments.
Yeah, so when mustard was a crop, it was cut by hand with and I say scythe, and I think you say scythe. I think I say it wrong. I say scythe, which one's right? You say scythe, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're probably right. In the same way that corn is cut.
Mm-hmm.
So the crop would grow up to 6 feet high, and it was a really arduous task to cut it. And it required extremely sharp tools. So anybody who couldn't cut the mustard was like weak.
Because it was very, you're talking like the stalks themselves were very coarse.
Yeah.
So you would swing your scythe, and if you didn't have the upper body strength, you just weren't able to. Well, I mean,
and you're doing it above your head, right? Because it's 6 foot tall. So
right.
Yeah.
So you just, if you couldn't cut the mustard, they had to fire you because we need someone who could literally cut this mustard.
Yeah, and I chose the literal because you tend to do better with literal. So, all right.
But again, going back to what John said, it could be either.
There's so many.
Everyone argues about where these come from, so.
So this is a twofer. I'm going to give you a twofer. I'm going to give you piece of cake and easy as pie.
Well, I would have to say that one of the two was first, and the other one was just another way to say the same thing. Piece of cake, easy as pie. They go, so somebody just tried to be clever with whichever one was first. But again, why something that is very easy would be called a piece of cake
doesn't make any sense.
Doesn't make sense because
Nothing.
For one, cake is not easy already.
No.
I don't bake cake. A Betty Crocker box that does all the work for you, and you just mix it and set the oven for the temperature that's on the box and put it in the pan. That's still a pain in the ass. So, like,
we don't even make brownies.
Oh.
I mean, that's just like an egg and a little oil.
Yeah, so, like, making a cake in general is now, but this is a piece of cake. So, if I didn't have to make the cake, it's pretty easy to cut the cake.
You have to just eat it.
But then again, it's not, depending on the cake. Sometimes, I mean, cutting it is easy, but like
easy.
A birthday cake, when I'm using a knife,
it's easy
all
to
the
eat
icing builds up on the thing, and then the third cut is gaudy because of all the icing on the knife.
I don't care what my cake looks like. Put it on my plate.
Yeah, that's true. Now, easy as pie. Pie's harder to make than cake.
And it's harder to cut than cake. Oh, yeah.
I've heard that before, and
just
I haven't done it.
Don't use mint, because then your cake
use non-flavored dental floss. I have heard that, though. I need to do that, try that out. But
I saw an even better one.
Piece of cake, probably, even though I don't know where it came from, whatever you tell me will probably make more sense than easy as pie, because pie is even harder, I think.
To cut and to make.
No,
not really.
But I mean, I guess you just throw shit in a pie crust.
Yeah, pie's easy. The crust is hard to make.
The crust is the hard part, I guess.
John, it does. I skipped over those. But yeah, it does. Yeah. I was pretty disappointed to find that as well, that it does have racial connotations, but I skipped.
What, this one?
It does. But I'm gonna smooth it over a little bit.
All right. Well, just let me know.
Okay, so the first citation states, as easy as pie originated in Australia in the 1920s. It grew from the term pie on or pie, which means to be very good at something. So I'm not familiar with that term. I know John's wife is from Australia, but pie on means to be good at something. That's where it came from.
So the word pie just means to be good at something.
Pie on is a
Pie
term.
on.
Is a term in Australia for being good at something. Okay, and as your mother and Rambling John alluded to, in the 1870s, when cakes were given out as prizes for winning competitions, they would have cakewalks as well. We've done cakewalks where you walk, and if you land on the number, you get the cake.
They play a song, and there's one less chair than the number of people.
Well, Australia's really big, John. Maybe that's, I'm not sure. It doesn't say what part. And it's from the 20s. She's probably an old person saying.
Right, ain't that how it goes?
I'm sorry. Well, the cakewalk that we've been to, you would walk and you stop. It's like...
they play a song, and they quit playing the song, and when there's a song, you sit down. But there's one less chair than the number of people, and whoever doesn't get to sit down has to be removed.
That's musical chairs. But a cakewalk, you walk around.
Oh, musical chairs.
They number the floor, and you walk around, and then whatever number you land on is the cake.
Yeah. Okay, I remember that.
But
they do it at for a raffle, not raffles, but they do it for fundraisers at schools and stuff. Yeah.
So, but John's right. It happened more so during slave days, and it was a thing that was more commonly done.
Was it something the slaves did together for themselves, for their own community, or was this kind of a way of paying slaves?
No, it was more of them. If I read it correctly, it was more of them turning their nose up at how the other people were. Yeah.
They say a cakewalk was the one where you had a date with the person. Wow, that's a big thing to read.
Yeah. So it was the one where you had a date with the woman who makes. So they number all the goods, and if you land on 11, you get that good. There's a pie that has a number 11 on it. I landed on 11. I take it to the lady at front, and she gives me the number 11 treat or whatever. But Mom, I didn't know that you had to get a date with the woman that baked the cake. What if their cake sucked? And
Man, people were ripping me off at cakewalks. I didn't get no dates.
Well, what if you got a cake and you're like, man, it's not even a good cake. I don't want to date her. She'll be making this cake for me all the time. Yeah, John's right. I did find all of that information out as well.
Okay.
Yeah. And I was wondering how to summarize it in a way. I was struggling with that, John. So.
Well, he did it in chat for you.
Yeah, he did it for me. Thank you. Appreciate you. Okay.
Let's go Dutch tonight. If you say it in a certain way, it sounds dirty. Even though I know what it means.
But I'm not talking about a Dutch oven.
No, that's not the kind of dirty, but that's even funnier.
That's so gross when you...
But I do that.
Oh, I don't even like that. I don't even talk about it. When you take a fart and you pull the covers up over...
Well, yeah, we know what Dutch oven is. Yeah.
Not everybody. Maybe someone doesn't.
Okay, if you don't know what a Dutch oven is, she knows. Believe me, she knows.
So gross. Why would you do that to
It's when you fart in bed, and then you pull the covers up over your significant other's head.
Why would you do that to someone you love? I mean, no.
You wouldn't do it to someone you didn't love.
Okay.
Only someone that you love would appreciate it or not get mad.
They don't appreciate it. I promise you.
Not want to kill you.
Oh my God, no! Because you might throw up. I could literally.
It's because men think it's funny.
Obviously,
it is funny. It's not a thinking thing. It literally is funny. All right.
Oh my gosh, that's so nasty. Okay, so
go Dutch means that you pay your own bills.
Yeah, you split the bill.
Yeah, you split the bill.
I'm gonna go to, and I liked it.
Well, generally it doesn't mean you split it. It means you literally pay for what you got.
Well,
right.
You pay for yourself, but a lot of times you'll just split the bill in half if you go with a friend. But yeah, you just say
right, because your friend orders 3 appetizers and you order a club sandwich.
I like
I don't
it.
want to split that bill.
I don't like the idea that comes with someone taking you on a date, that whole, I bought you dinner, now what are you going to do for me? Nothing, because I bought my own freaking dinner. So we ain't even got to talk about it. We went Dutch.
I think this is even more prominent today with the newer, younger generation. They do Dutch way more often.
You know why? Because imagine being the
like when I grew up, I had to be chivalrous. That's what I was taught.
But imagine,
I paid for the meals.
Imagine being the chivalrous person who is offering to pay for everything, and you're dating your way. You're not getting married till you're in your early 30s, and you're dating your way through life, and you're spending 10, 11, 12 meals on this person, and it goes nowhere.
And it's not also as common
in
anymore.
terms, when I say it goes nowhere, I mean like it's not going long term.
But there was women, matter of fact, I think you even know of one or two,
I know
that would literally go on dates just for the expensive meal.
They would ask, well, where
are we going?
I'll choose. And they would have a list of where they would choose.
And then they had no intention of ever talking to the guy again.
No, they just wanted to check out that restaurant.
Of ever calling the guy again, of ever whatever.
No.
They just wanted a free meal.
And if they ever did call him again, it would be to go to the next restaurant.
Yeah.
Because
so
they
that's kind of shitty, but people do it. People did it. They still do it.
That's why I would rather go Dutch. You're not taking advantage of me. I'm not taking advantage of you. There's no expectations.
Right, and literally it makes sense if you think about it, because what is a date? A date is two people trying to get to know each other to see if they're even compatible to do it again.
I don't know if it is,
place.
because like so many people are like, want to go to a movie. How am I going to get to know you at a movie?
The movie's the worst date in the world.
It's the worst date in the world.
Never take a person on a date at a movie theater. That's
unless you're
worst.
just wanting to get to the after show and that's all you care about. Yeah. Because you can't talk. So
and
now
also don't do a bar, like a big crowded bar, because then you're yelling over everyone. Like to me, like a coffee house or something like that is literally the best place to actually sit down and learn about someone else.
Yeah.
Like to me, there's not a better place than a coffee house. That's where you should always have a first date, as a coffee house.
Maybe a library.
No, you're not allowed to talk in the library. The library lady will shake her ruler at you and get all mad.
John, my research did not. I'll be honest with you on this one. I took what I found. I didn't dig too deep on this one. Mostly in part because I started my research late this week, and we actually had events. Not events. I don't even know why I said that. We had people that came over or someone invited us to dinner on Friday, which we've been out of the house for dinner maybe 4 times in a year, so that we went out for dinner, and then Saturday we had people over for a burger. So I didn't have as much time as I normally put into it. So no, mine did not say anything about Amish culture, so I'd be interested in that, John. Mine, do you want me to guess? Do you want me to tell you? Not guess.
Yeah, just tell me, because I mean, I don't know where to go with this. I don't know much about the Dutch culture, so I would imagine it maybe had something to do in the Dutch culture. I don't know.
Everyone was responsible for their own portion. That makes sense. And I think when we did potluck, we did one episode where potluck came up, and I think we talked about that a little bit during that episode about potluck and how everyone brought their own portion and everything. Okay, so mine says the origin of the phrase "to go Dutch" is traced back to the 17th century, when England and the Netherlands fought constantly over trade routes and political boundaries. To go Dutch implies an informal agreement that each person will pay his or her own expenses. So you're right. Not just... I always just split the check. I wasn't like, I'll take mine, you take yours. But you're right. If you're with a friend that's gobbling up the alcohol...
Or say you're on a date with that same girl.
Mm-hmm.
That same girl that wants the free dinner. So I go and I order my club salad, and she goes and she orders 3 bottles of wine, or 3 things of wine, and she's gonna have the expensive steak, the Oscar style filet mignon, and she's gonna have it. She just racked up a $60 bill, and I ate $18 worth of stuff, and we're splitting it down the middle.
Isn't that what most guys do? They're like, let the girl go first and see how much of my money she's gonna spend before I order what I've got left to order.
Yeah, especially if you're on a budget, but...
It's out of focus for some reason.
But then again, I'm going to just do this to try to focus. There, that's better.
All right. Well, I mean, the world is changing, right?
The world is changing.
The traditional roles are not what they were. I think it's absolutely normal for our older children to just go and expect each person to pay their own. Although our older children would, I tell all of my children, it doesn't matter if I would have had girls or not. You don't ask somebody to go do something unless you can afford to pay for them. If the girl offers to pay, great. If they don't, you need to be prepared to pay for both people.
Be prepared.
You do not go, and same thing for a girl. I don't have girls, but friends with girls or nieces or whatever, if a guy asks you out, you do not accept unless you are prepared to pay your own way. You have the money to pay your own way. Do not accept if you cannot pay your own way. Don't you dare do it. Because you might want out of that situation and you might want to just pay the bill and get the hell out of there. Mm-hmm. So be prepared to take care of your damn self.
But what if it wasn't discussed? And then the guy's been on 3 dates and everything was Dutch and he just assumes that's the way things go and you're sitting there expecting him to pay for it and he's like, you know, and the waitress walks up and says 1 check or 2 and the guy's like 2 please.
And you're like, fuck.
And now you're like, especially if you're a bitch to him, he'll be like 2 checks. 2 checks.
You know what's funny?
Is this 1 check or 2? Definitely fucking 2.
If I'm dating, which I haven't done a lot of dating in my adult life because I've been married for my whole, like a long periods of time, I guess, or otherwise engaged. Like when we started dating, we did like an every other thing. It was just known, like, I got it last time, I'll get it this time. And you would just plan accordingly. Like, you're choosing if I'm paying, I'm choosing the venue. So, okay, it's my turn. I'm going to choose something in my budget that I would enjoy, that I'm willing to pay for. His turn, he can choose something in his budget that he is willing to pay for. And that way we didn't have to cut the check.
It's always her turn.
Oh, it's always my turn.
To pick the venue.
That's true. Because I'll say...
you know what? This is not a joke. I was going to say pick the venue on our first date, which technically is not true. I picked the venue and she changed that shit when we got there.
Because it's my prerogative. It's my prerogative.
So I'm like, whatever. She's like, yeah, this place is not good enough for me. Let's go somewhere else.
I didn't say that. I wanted to go to a place that I felt more comfortable with, which he promptly denied.
And I wanted to go to a place I felt more comfortable with.
Yeah.
And you moved us from
And
there.
11 years later, we still have the same problem. We can't agree on.
Well, now I don't care what you're comfortable with anymore, but...
That's not even true. That's funny that you said it, though. All right. So I like it when you say things that you know you're full of shit, and I'm just like, you're so full of shit. People probably think you're a misogynistic asshole.
They know better.
Some might not. Okay. So, sorry. I'll take a rain check. I'm washing my hair tonight. Have you ever had a girl tell you that? Like, I'm going to have to take a rain check. I'm washing my hair tonight. Who says that? Have you ever heard? That's
obviously somebody from what you call it, from New Jersey.
Oh, yeah. Hey.
That's the way you said it.
Hey, I'm washing my hair here.
I'm washing my hair.
I think that's like, if someone tells you they're washing their hair, that's just like the person's not interested.
Right. That was
call
my
back.
I'm like, they're like, well, I'm washing my hair. I'm like, okay, then I'll call you in 15 minutes. Like, well, you see how long it takes me to wash my hair, but...
No, if someone told me they were washing their hair, I'd be like, okay, I can take a hint here. Oh, so yeah, John, my picture certainly provides a clue. So what you got? Where do you think that could? Well, everybody knows what a rain check is, right?
Well, I was gonna say I've never thought of a rain check being like an idiom or anything. I just literally thought it was like if you're at an event that's an outdoor event and it rains, then they give you a rain check that you can redeem later to do that event when it's not raining.
But when people say that, it's not because it's raining. They say, I'll take a rain check.
Right now, it doesn't mean that, but right. I mean, but literally it still does mean that. Like if we went to a concert that was outdoors and it literally
those all say rain or shine, honey. Those tickets all say...
Well, let's say a hurricane blew through.
Yeah, they all say they're not responsible for act of gods, rain or shine. I think maybe Six Flags might give you a rain check. I know the car wash will. The car wash will give you a literal rain check that if it rains within 24 hours of when you got your car washed, you can get it. Rewashed. Mother, if that was really a viable excuse that you couldn't put off washing your hair till,
now I could see if someone called you literally while you're doing this with your hair, you'd be like...
You wouldn't answer the phone.
Yeah, I'm washing my hair. Can I call you back?
No, I
But yeah,
don't.
just don't answer your phone if you're in the middle of washing your hair.
Well, we proved in one of our previous podcasts that you can go out with wet hair. That I was lied to my entire life. It does not cause pneumonia. Doesn't. So you could go out.
Well, maybe,
with wet
but
hair.
that was
Oh, you had to
during the
set
day
it.
of permings.
Set it. You had to set it. They didn't.
And perms, you couldn't get them wet.
No, right after you got a perm, but after that you could.
I learned that shit from Legally Blonde.
No, it's right after you got it. You could do it after it's
No,
set.
you can't get your hair wet within 24 hours
That's right.
of getting a perm. Legally Blonde taught me that shit.
That's true, but it's just 24 hours. But my point being, you're not gonna here's my thing. I tell our boys this all the time. That whole show that came out, I had never watched it, but he's not into that. He's not into you. It was like with Mel Gibson where they're telling her get a clue, he's not into you. Honey, if a girl is telling you that they can't go out because they have to wash their hair, they're not into you. Because if you are into someone, you go without sleep, you stay up all night and go to work.
That's true. That's how we operated for the first month of us
you
dating.
will find a way if you are into each other, and if you're not interested, you'll make up all the excuses in the world. So if a girl's into you, she ain't never gonna tell you she's washing your hair. She'll show up with a ball cap.
Mm-hmm.
Sure will. So you pretty much got it. It's from the 1800s. A baseball game was canceled due to the bad weather. Spectators were giving a rain check voucher, which meant that they could go and watch a different game.
And that's still done today for baseball that are in outdoor stadiums.
But it's morphed into, well, they try really hard not to call a game for weather. I've sat for 3 hours.
They do try not to, but they do. And when they do, if it has to be postponed to another day, then they'll have a doubleheader. And generally, I don't know if they're still doing it now, but even when in my late teens, early 20s, when I used to drive to Arlington for baseball games, if it got rained out and they would end up moving it, you would get a literal rain check and you could go to the doubleheader game and you didn't have to pay to watch the extra game.
So, I've been at a ball game and waited 2 hours for them to roll the tarp out and roll the tarp back, and they'll start raining again, and they'll roll the top part. I mean, they are trying everything in the world not to reschedule that game, even if it goes till midnight.
And they're not, and here's the thing with baseball, they're not trying to not reschedule the game because of tickets. Mm-hmm. That might be part of the reason, but it's because of schedule. It's because of schedule. It makes things hard, because the whole season's planned out. Every game of the season's planned out 3 years in advance.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's...
Yeah. So, you guys were pretty damn close. You got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And I've worked a few puns into this.
I see that now.
I know.
Sorry you feel ill.
I've been feeling under the weather. And that sounds such a weird thing to say. I've been under the weather. When are you above the weather? It's just weird. Like, you're under the weather.
I guess that comes from maybe the old myth that, like, cold weather or whatever would, like, give you the flu. Remember that? Like,
we talked about it 5 seconds ago.
It's cold that you'll...
We talked about it 5 seconds ago, going out with wet hair.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm saying the old myths where your mom would say, like, oh, you can't go out and play because it rained and you'll catch a cold. No, the cold literally comes from viruses. You're not going to catch a cold because of the cold weather. But your mom didn't lie to you. Your mom just thought that because she was told that as well. Mm-hmm. You know? Mm-hmm. But, so I would imagine that that's what it comes from, is back when you used to believe that bad weather caused illnesses.
No.
No?
Well,
all right.
let me say this. Maybe, but not the one I chose or anything that I saw. Again, so many different, and you don't know who's really right. In a lot of cases, I went with Merriam-Webster because she's a smart gal. But in some cases, I couldn't find it. All right, so you couldn't go to school if it was raining. What was going to happen? Were you going to melt? You're not made of sugar. You don't have to worry. You could go straight your ass to school. You have nothing to worry about. If somebody says they don't want to go out in the rain, I tell my kid, you're not that sweet. Keep going. Keep it moving. All right. So, under the weather. This idiom has nautical origins. Sailors and passengers aboard ships often became seasick during storms and bad weather, when the boat would rock back and forth, back and forth. In other words, they were sent under the deck and away from the weather, which is how the phrase under the weather.
So bad weather would cause seasickness because the boat would be rocking.
Yeah. So
that makes sense.
But here's the thing. I went sailing, and I had to go downstairs to use the bathroom. I was fine above board. When I went under deck to go to the bathroom, it It was 100 times worse under there. It didn't feel better. It felt worse.
That makes no sense.
Under. Oh, it's bad when you go under.
That makes no sense because if you think about it, like here's your boat. If the boat's rocking like this,
I don't know.
Look, if you're here, you're moving that much. If you're here, you're only moving that much. If you're here, you're hardly moving at all.
Maybe
it's the top that's moving. You know.
Maybe it's because you have a visual stabilization.
Yeah, you can actually see, and down there you can't see. You can only
You're
feel
just
it.
like, oh, it's terrible.
Kind of like the first cruise we ever went on. Remember, I got kind of nauseous the first night, but then it never happened again. But the first night I got kind of nauseous, and I didn't get nauseous till we went to bed.
Oh yeah, because we were just laying there and you could feel.
And we didn't have a balcony or a window. We had an interior cabin, so
solid pitch black.
It's pitch black. If you're on a cruise ship and you have an interior cabin room, you never know what time of day it is if you don't have a clock.
It's like for people that have basements.
Yeah,
like
it's literally there's
like
no window, so it's just if you turn off the lights and go in there, it's pitch dark 24 hours a day.
So I'm from a part of the country that has basements. So to me, it's the exact same as being in the basement.
I thought most basements had a light though. Like, didn't you have windows up top?
Not any I've ever.
In all the horror movies, they do.
No,
but.
I mean they have like electricity lights, but it's not the same. So did our room. Yeah, the boat was rocking pretty bad though.
But it was the first night of my first cruise I ever been on, and I was fine the entire day. And when it got late, like midnight, 1 a.m, we were gonna go to bed.
Mm-hmm.
I went and laid down in bed, and I could just feel the ship rocking, and
it was rocking pretty bad.
My belly was getting all of a sudden like I'm gonna lose it. Yeah. But that's the only time, and it's never happened again. It was just the first night of the first cruise
because we were on a smaller ship, and we hit bad weather. But that's why the larger ships you don't feel.
Now, granted, our rooms are way above the water, so
it doesn't matter. It was still yeah.
But I'm saying that's the only time I ever remember getting like seasick, and I didn't get that bad, but it bothered me.
All right, so ring ring, hello. I'm just calling to shoot the breeze. Just calling to shoot the breeze.
Ding dong.
Hello.
Ding dong. Hello.
Are you here to shoot the breeze?
I'm not even gonna guess on that one. Like, I've heard the saying a million times, I've never even thought to analyze it. So, and I don't know if I can analyze it.
So it's pretty simple. The expression dates back to the earliest 20th century. The origin is a little unclear. But the best expression is it means something that's very easily accomplished and not very difficult, since the word breeze means a gentle breeze, like the opposite of a stiff one. It's just pretty easy, an easy breeze. So something's happening gently and without a whole lot of effort. You're just kind of shooting the breeze. Isn't impressive, huh?
I still don't get it.
What do you mean?
I still don't get how it's shooting the breeze. How are you shooting it?
That's a good question. I didn't talk about the shoot part. That's true.
All right, research for the next show.
No, I'm not. No repeats.
No repeats.
So if your kids don't want to argue about how big the slice of pie is, they can always argue about who's going to be shotgun. I think that is one of the few things that have ever brought our children to physical altercations. Like, I thought the police were going to get called many a time when one was physically removing the other one from the front seat because apparently they had been shotgun last. Like, whoa. Yeah.
Now, of course, shotgun comes from during the Wild West days when you used to ride the wagons and stuff, and if you were in control of the range, you needed your partner to be in control of the gun.
Yeah.
When you were doing your robberies.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was, and John mentioned that too. But yeah, that's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
But it's if you're not American and you're not familiar with that, and you're like, shotgun, what the hell?
Actually, could be your mother said it right before John. You
didn't
see
really?
that? Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, you were in control of the reins, so you couldn't also be in control of the gun. So you needed a partner, your right-hand man, that was in control of the gun. Yeah.
You guys are right.
All
right, so let's table this. Oh my God, I can't tell you how many times I hear that. So I liked her little phrase. I don't know if you guys can see it or not, but it says, great! Is not talking about this next week good for you? Because you never come back to the shit you table. You don't. You just go, can we table this for now? Like, ever? Like, just, like, move on? Can we table this? So what's interesting to me is American English and England English, these phrases mean the exact opposite.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So table it in England means let's talk about this right now?
Let's talk about it right now. Let's deal with it right now. And it comes.
Oh, very interesting.
And so I was only able to find their origin, which was you have a podium, and if it was supposed to be talked about right then, the paper was put there as the next agenda up for discussion. So that's where theirs comes from. I don't know why ours is the opposite. No one seems to know why ours is the opposite. But let's table it as they put it on the podium because it's the next topic of discussion, and so they're tabling it. But Americans are not talking about it. Doesn't make any sense at all. We're complete opposites.
Right. So the England one makes more sense.
Absolutely.
Because it's like, okay, we have all these discussions. We're talking about this.
Let's table it.
Well, let's table it. Let's talk about this right now. We're going to put it on the table, and we're going to talk about this right now and get to the bottom of this.
Yeah.
Where in America, it's like, we're going to table this and forget it ever happened.
It's like, it's mostly, in my meetings, it's like, can we table this and just fucking never bring it back up again, please? Some people are like, we have something from the last meeting that we need to discuss. No, it's tabled. Leave it there. It's fine. Move on.
A quick question before you pull this over.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a lot left, or can we do a quick intermission so pee break?
No.
Keep going?
Yes.
Okay. We're going to keep going.
Okay. So don't be a wet blanket. I got called that a lot. Because I don't smoke pot. So I got called a wet blanket a lot.
Yeah, so I was going to say being a wet blanket just means being the party pooper.
Yeah.
Like, don't be the one person that doesn't do what everyone else is doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you know why, though?
I mean, I guess because a wet blanket don't keep you warm.
This is the ultimate wet blanket. This is this guy right here.
Was he?
Oh, yeah.
I know he was just depressed all the time.
No, he was like, guess it doesn't matter anyway. No, he was the ultimate wet blanket. It is because, do you want to take a guess?
Does that have anything to do with putting out a fire?
It does. Who said that?
I could not be your mother said that.
It does. It absolutely does. So wet blankets were used to put out fires. So if you're...
Also, everyone else having a good fun. They're the shorty fire burning on the dance floor.
Yeah.
And you're the wet blanket that throws it, and Shorty's no longer on fire on the dance floor anymore.
Yep. So in the 1870s, it's based on the facts that Cook at the time kept a wet blanket handy. And if you watch Downton Abbey, they had like buckets of sand or something. Anyway, the wet blanket in the kitchen to smother fires quickly. This practice dates back to the mid-1600s. It's easy to see the parallel between extinguishing a fire and extinguishing someone's joy, which Igor is really good at doing. Or Eeyore. Oh my!
Igor.
My coworker's name is Igor.
I was like, you just threw Igor under the bus.
That is not what I
meant.
That is not what I meant. I meant Eeyore.
Eeyore, not Igor.
Hey, welcome back, Lolo.
I doubt Igor's watching, but if you are, she didn't mean that.
I did not, because
he's not watching.
He's actually a really fun guy, so that's not even true. Okay, so you're looking a little long in the tooth there. You ever had anybody say that? That's old school.
That is very old school. I don't even know what it would mean if someone said that to me.
You're looking all haggard and old. Looking a little long in the tooth.
Does it have something to do with, like, a beaver? The older they get, the longer their teeth get?
You're close. The phrase was coined on the basis of the idea that teeth of some animals grow longer as they age because of the receding gum lines. In the middle of the 18th century, horses were judged for their age depending on how long their teeth were. Yeah.
Oh, horse. Okay, that makes sense.
Lolo, you're too old. You're too young to hear it, I guess. A little long in the tooth means you look all haggard and old. Trying not to rush just because you're doing the pee-pee dance. You should have been prepared.
I did pee first. I'm fine.
Okay. All right, here we go. We have two more. Two more. And then we'll talk about next week. Okay. Better knock on wood. Everybody knows that one.
Well, I was going to say, knocking on wood is just... Didn't knocking on wood just come from the fact that it was like a superstition?
What do you mean?
Like, it's just a superstition thing. Like, oh, I better knock on wood to have... Like, so that something bad don't happen to me. Like, oh, I did something bad. Let me knock on wood that doesn't come back to bite me in the ass. I thought it was just a superstition. I didn't realize it was
no. It's actually a saying, and not everybody actually knock. No, it's actually more of a saying. But I mean, it is a superstition in a way. I see where you're headed with that. So, Mother, you're kind of right. A common explanation for knocking on wood claims that the ritual is a holdover from Europe's pagan days and appeal to the tree-dwelling spirits to ward off good luck, or an expression of gratitude for good fortune. So, yeah.
Yeah, so it's superstition.
Yeah. Yeah, you're knocking on wood.
I was like, I didn't know the meaning came from anything other than you literally knocked on wood.
Okay, it's the last one. You ready for the last one?
I'm ready for the last one.
The last one.
Break a leg tonight.
What's
I
the
know
last one?
I
The
know
last
this only because I have years and years of being in theater. Now, maybe there's an origin story I don't know about, but in the theater world, telling someone good luck is bad luck.
Mm-hmm.
So instead, you say something to them that you don't want to happen, such as break a leg, and that's wishing them good luck instead.
So ballet dancers have their own too.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, they say mierda. I don't remember how you pronounce it in French, but in Spanish it's mierda, which is shit. That's what they say.
Oh, okay.
And they're for similar reasons.
It means good luck, but it's the opposite of good luck, because if you were to say good luck in theater, that's actually bad luck.
Yeah.
So instead you say something horrible. You wish them something horrible to happen.
Which is going
to be the opposite. It's supposed to trick the lucky spirits into making the opposite happen. So you say break a leg.
So phrases like break a leg and mierda are meant to confuse the theatrical pixies and defeat their obstinate ways. A wish for something bad will surely yield something good from them.
And so break a leg just became the common bad luck that you wished on someone.
Yep.
So that it would be reversed into good luck.
Exactly. Yeah. Break a leg. Or mierda. I can't imagine someone just yelling shit. I did find another one that said that when people thought a show was good, they would stomp their feet. And people would say, like, stomp your feet so much that you'll break a leg. It was another...
I never heard about that.
Yeah.
I just know that's what we were... always would tell each other would break a leg. That's just what you said. You just, hey, good luck tonight. No, you don't say that shit in theater.
Yeah, so in Spanish it's mierda, which I don't... Lolo could probably pronounce it much better. But the ballet people say it in French, which is like merde or merde. It's a little bit different, but it's the same thing. Balls to the wall. Yeah, I can't even imagine where that goes, where that comes from. Balls to the walls. I mean, I know what it means, but I don't know why.
Right.
I mean, that sounds like something they line your ass up and spray you down in a prison.
Balls to the wall just means like hardcore, like go at it, give it your all.
Yeah, but it sounds like they'd like line you up in a prison and spray you down naked or something to get rid of lice.
He said it's a military idiot
for going
fast.
Why? But why? But
why? I don't know why or where it comes from.
But I need to know why.
Yeah, I know what it means, but...
So you know what's going to happen next week? Episode 11.
Have you told me yet?
I told you at the beginning. I always tell you at the beginning.
So I know already going into this?
You do, but you haven't said it.
Have you told them?
I told them when I told you. At the beginning of every episode, I tell everybody what next episode is.
Oh, I'll be honest with you. I don't always listen to what you say at the very beginning because I'm also doing technical things. I'm making sure this is there, sound's working, like I'm doing, and so I don't hear the first few sentences.
I want to edit it where you said, I never listen to you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Aviation term, acceleration sticks on the aircraft are topped with balls. That makes sense.
Oh.
So you don't listen to me. So you want to know?
Hey, so are the gear shifts in the 1957 Chevrolet.
All of them.
Big old 8-ball.
Well, it's not always an 8-ball.
No, I know, but...
People change those out. You ready? Next week, episode 11, 6 o'clock on Sundays. If you haven't already followed us, please do.
On the iPad?
Now is your chance to do so that you can chat with us. And if you have Amazon Prime and you would be so kind, you can actually subscribe to us for absolutely free by linking your Amazon Prime account and giving us your monthly sub.
As Ramble and John did this episode.
Yeah, as he did today. All right, you ready? Bizarre Food. Episode
Bizarre Food.
11.
You said that to me?
I did.
You know what we need to do for this? I'm not even joking you. Get on the internet and order everything on your thing, and we're going to sample it right here live. I will. I'll sample it.
We're not. Maybe we can get one. We're not getting all.
Maybe a couple. The really odd ones.
some of them we probably can't get. So it may be weird food that they make. It may be weird old food. It may be weird food combinations. I'm not going to be pinned down to the literalness that it resides in your brain. But it's going to be it's going to be bizarre food. And that's what we're going to call it. And it's going to be very open to interpretation. So I thought I'd give you a few examples like I always do every week.
Such as jellified moose nose?
Yeah.
Maybe I shouldn't have said that I'll sample these on the air live.
I don't know where the hell to get jellified moose nose.
Well, Canada.
Yeah, I do have some connections. Canada's really big, though. I have reps all across Canada. And...
jellied moose nose.
And I'll show you one more. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Stargazy pie.
That doesn't look bad for me. I would maybe eat it.
That's either a turtle head or...
That's just a...
That's a turtle head or a fish head or something.
It's a fish head. I'm going to say that's probably an anchovy.
No, that's huge. That looks like a whole freaking
anchovies are fucking big.
Are they?
Well, you can get small ones that you put on pizza, but no, like there's big ass anchovies.
Really?
Like when you make a Caesar salad, they buy the big ass anchovies, and that's what they're using. All that meat that's in those big ass.
I also found like a lot of old cookbooks and some of that shit they would make, that there was a period in time where everything was cast into a Jell-O mold. Like everything. And I found some of the older cookbooks during, I think, the Depression, where they would like make meat things shaped like a steak because they couldn't afford steak. It wasn't steak. They would like make fake steaks and like, paint like grill marks on shit. It's really, really, there's a lot. You can go a lot of places with this. So, yeah. So that's what you have to look forward to.
I actually do look forward to this one. This one's going to be fun.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, when we say weird foods, there's a lot of even American foods that just are weird.
Yeah. There's some, I don't remember, I saw these YouTube videos where people were like the stinkiest meat in the world or something, and they were eating it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's supposed to be like really rancid and really horrible, but...
yeah, and I've had a
fruitcake. I hate when people say fruitcake is gross. I fucking love fruitcake.
You must have missed one of our earlier episodes where we talked about fruitcake, and he told us how much he loves it because it's nasty.
Fruitcake is so good.
No. No. Hopefully no one's eating Tide Pods. No. Thanks, John. We appreciate you.
So, again, follow us here.
Oh, that's why you said it. Lola's messing with you. And I wore a vest this weekend, too, so.
Yeah.
All the triggers.
At the top, you see all of our little social medias. Follow us on them. We don't use Twitter much, but it does notify you when that we're going live. Instagram, we're mostly talking about our board games. The ReddMetal. Facebook is all of our video clips.
No, Instagram is pretty much. But
Instagram. What'd I say?
The best place to go to is our YouTube channel, where you can watch all our previous episodes, or if you can't join us live one week, you can watch the episode that you missed, or the episodes that you missed on YouTube.
And get all caught up.
Yeah, and you can subscribe on YouTube for free, and it'll tell you every time we post a new video. So if Sundays at 6...
well, I think you have to hit the... I'm not good with YouTube.
Anyway,
yeah.
All of our videos are posted there.
Notifications or something.
They do drop off of Twitch, so if you missed old ones or you missed a week, they only stay on Twitch for so long, but they are in perpetuity on YouTube.
Yep, they're there forever, unless we remove them, which I'm never going to do.
Unless you go for a job application and then they say, he talks bad about his job on the air.
I never have talked bad about my job once.
No.
I like my job.
Yeah. All right, guys. It's a wrap.
That's it.
All right.
All right.
See you guys. See you next week at 6 on Sunday.
Unless you want to watch me play video games, I'm on Tuesday and Thursday doing that as well. And I do need your support there also. But that's all for tonight.
Bye, guys.